Hey everyone, it's Charlene. Today we're going to go over a fun technique. It's an edge-to-edge shaker card. Let's get started. Today I'm using the Fall Friends stamp and die set from Sunny Studios. This is a really cute set. I'm going to go ahead and ink up the entire set here, just about, with the Simon Says stamp ink in Intense Black. Once I have my stamps good and inked, because this is a brand new set, I'll go ahead and put it down on my stamping platform, and I'm using my new Stamp Tabulous tool, which is really awesome. It saves your wrists and gives you that beautiful pressure all over your stamped images. I did go ahead and color all of my images off camera with my Copic markers. If you're interested in seeing what colors I used, you can head over to my blog at www.dreamcraftcreate.com, and I have all of the colors listed there. For this background piece, I cut it using the Simon Says stamped Stitched Slopes and Hills die set. I cut out a little piece for the bottom of my card. Right now I'm going in with Distress Oxide in Mowed Lawn, and I'm using my Gina K blending brush. I'm doing an all-over blend, fairly heavy. I'm not too worried right now, as I'm going to go in with another color and then come back to the Mowed Lawn. So once I'm done with that Mowed Lawn, I'm going to come in with some Forest Moss. And the nice thing about these blending brushes is I get to use one brush for all of my greens, so I just kind of tap it off on my paper towel over there and come in with the Forest Moss. I'm bringing that up from the bottom. My goal here is to kind of create the look of fall grass, which isn't quite as bright here in Washington anyway as the spring and summer grass. It gets a little brown in it. So coming in all along the bottom there, and then once I like the way that looks, I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my brush and come back in with that Mowed Lawn on the top, and the two of those will blend together really well. I like these kinds of background dies because they're really versatile. In fact, I'm going to use the remaining piece from my cutout to make a cloud formation on the other part of my card, and that's what I'm going to go into next here. First, I'm going to use some Post-it tape on my card base, because I am going to go ahead and ink directly on the card base, just going along the top there, and it kind of does double duty here, which is nice because the Post-it tape also helps to adhere my card base to my work surface. So there you can see the remaining cutout piece that I had from where I cut using my die to create the grass. And now I'm coming in with Tumbled Glass Distress Oxide, and what I'm going to do is take that piece and just kind of lay it on my card base in a way that I like, and lightly go over the edge there in a circular motion using that tumbled glass. This will create the illusion of clouds in the sky. This is also a great way to come in with for waves or other types of backgrounds that you're trying to achieve like that. If you're enjoying this video, please do go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button so that way you can receive future notifications about content I've created. I do lots of tips and tricks as well as other tutorials like this. So I'm just going in and I am going back and forth and then into the middle, and each time I lift my paper up just to get a sense of how things are looking, because I just want those clouds to look kind of balanced. I've gone in, and now this is going to be my fourth round, and then on the next one I think I'm going to go ahead and flip my paper over in order to give it a different look. So think about flipping it over, upside down, different things like that in order to accomplish the look that you're going for. So again, going back and forth with that tumbled glass, and when I'm done here, I'm actually going to go over and do a light brushing. I believe it's off camera, with the tumbled glass over the whole thing to sort of blend everything in together. So once I get it down how I like it, I'm going to bring in my grass layer just to make sure I have clouds going all the way down, so that way it looks nice. And I'm going to come back in with one more little cloud shape. Now, depending on the look you're going for, you might want the clouds to only be in the top. You might want them all the way across like I did. I kind of wanted to give the illusion of a fall sky that had some clouds because it might rain at some point. All right, I'm going to heat emboss my sentiment directly to my grass layer. Again, I'm using the Fall Friends stamp set from Sunny Studios, and I'm using one of their sentiment from that set. Once I get it lined up how I like on my stamp platform there, I'm coming in with some Versamark embossing ink. This is a great ink to use for embossing. Put that down, and again going in with my Stamptabulous tool in order to get some good pressure on there. Now you see at the beginning of this I used my anti-static powder tool, and I used it pretty heavily on there because I don't want any of my embossing powder to stick to the Distress Oxides. They can kind of hang on to that embossing powder, and you're going to see even though I did that, I still had some that decided to hang out, and I kind of stopped midway while I was using my heat tool to emboss. Normally I use a heat gun, but I already had my Heat It craft tool out because I had used it off camera to kind of dry this layer before I started embossing. So there I am, kind of just rubbing off some extra embossing powder that had stuck to the top because of those Distress Oxides. They're so beautiful, but they do stay wet for a while. Once you have your image heat embossed, you can adhere it to your card base. And I'm coming in with Gina K Connect glue. I love to use this glue anytime I am connecting paper to paper. I find that its consistency is really good because it gives you a lot of wiggle room, and also it doesn't show up underneath the paper because it's kind of thin, so it thins out underneath that paper. All right, I've come in with my tree stump and I'm putting my apple basket on top of it there, and I tucked those apples into the basket. There's a cute little cutout when you use the die set that allows you to sort of stick things inside of other things, which is really fun. I did go ahead and fussy cut some of the areas around the apple basket, and that's because I felt like the white was distracting when it was sitting on top of the tree stump. Put a little apple down there on the side, make it look like it fell out of the basket. And then I've got my cute little husky peeking out over the apple bin, checking out what's going on. I've got my wagon, and for my wagon I did use a die cutout of craft EVA foam in order to give it some dimension behind. So I'm gluing that on right now. And in the wagon I have put a pumpkin with a cute little raccoon peeking out and a little topper on his head of a pumpkin to make it look like a hat. And then I also have a fox and another pumpkin in the wagon. When I'm doing things like this, I find it helps to adhere the pieces all together first before I adhere them to the background. So you can see I kind of adhered everything to the back of the wagon first, and then I came in and put the entire thing down on my card base. Adding another little pumpkin there. And now I am getting to the fun part, which is the acetate sheet, which I will use to make this into a shaker card. So you're going to want to cut your acetate piece. You can also use any kind of clear packaging. Even the packaging that your stamps come in would work perfect. And you're going to want to cut it so that there is about 1/4 of an inch all the way around that exceeds past your card base. And then you can go in and score it with a bone folder or some kind of scoring tool and go along those edges and bend it. Now I'm coming in with the Simon Says Stamp Fall Sequin Mix, which is really cute. And I'm going in and you can see I have a lot of trouble with sequins. I normally just have trouble deciding where to put them. I'm always thinking I'm putting too many or not enough, and I kind of go back and forth quite a bit anytime that I use sequins. So I'm going through and just trying to pick different colors, and I'm going to adhere these to the card so that way even when all the sequins are down at the bottom of the shaker, there's still some fun little sequin accents around on the card, and I think this really adds a lot to the card. Just using my jewel picker there, And then I'm actually coming in with some art glitter glue. I like to use this glue when I am doing fine detail work or when I'm adding embellishments to a card. As you can see, those sequins, they just don't like me. I don't know what it is about sequins, but they're usually not my friend. I have trouble getting them to adhere onto any kind of card. I have trouble picking them out, and you'll see a little bit later I dump them all over my desk. So they are not my friend, but in the end it comes together and it looks really cute. You can see that heat emboss sentiment down at the bottom. It says, "So happy we're friends." And I do want to note that if you are going to use your sentiment like that on the inside of the card on one of these edge-to-edge shakers, you just want to make sure that you place it up high enough on the card and put an amount of sequins that is not going to cover up your sentiment. So at one point here, I had too many sequins in my card, and I had to dump some of them back out before I sealed up my card. Now, before I seal up with the acetate sheet, I am going in with Wink of Stella. I'm going in and covering all of the pumpkins as well as all of the apples. I think that gives kind of an all over pretty shimmer to all of the produce, I guess. I just love that husky. It's so cute. Okay. Now, when you are adhering any kind of acetate to a card, you are going to want to use double-sided tape. You can try it with glue, but it is far more difficult to do with glue, and sometimes it doesn't work. So I definitely recommend using double-sided tape. I believe I used 1/8 of an inch tape here. So you're going to tape 3 sides on the inside of your card. You're going to tape the areas behind the front of your card, and you'll do the sides, and then you'll do the bottom. So when you fold that acetate over, you're going to fold it underneath and over the sides. And then your last side is actually going to fold over the top of your card. So you're going to put a strip of your double-sided tape on the top back of your card. And you're going to see that in just a moment here. So now I'm taking my acetate, just making sure, there it is, I tape that top back part there. And then once you do get your acetate on, you're going to go ahead and pull the release tape on the inside parts, but not on that back top part. You want to leave that on because you still got to get your sequins in there. And the other thing I will note at this point is if you have pets, you want to make sure that you don't have any pet fur on your desk. Those little pet furs will definitely stick to the acetate. Ask me how I know. Pull the release tape. Make sure you push down really hard. I actually like to go in with my bone folder and really rub it down on there to make sure that it is stuck down to that double-sided tape. Just checking my placement before I commit. And there we go. We got those 3 parts down. And if you have any little pieces around the corners that are extra acetate, you can just trim those off with your scissors. The nice thing about this edge-to-edge style of shaker card is that you can actually use glitter if you wanted to. There you can see my thumb hit the tray and I dumped the whole thing. So originally I had actually thought that I did not want to use the teal sequins, so I had kind of sorted them out, and then I decided I did want to use them, so I put them all back in. And then you can see as I go on, more and more sequins end up on my desk. Again, sequins, they are not my friend. All right, we got the back on and we adhered it down. So here it is, guys. Here's the finished product. I was really happy with it despite all my sequin drama, and it's so cute. I love how those little guys are popping up, and I love the fact that you can see all the way edge to edge without any border.